Hey guys, Will here from MachineLoveUs.com. You can hear my voice is a little bit shot, so what I'm going to do today is not as much talking, but this is going to be more of a live coding refactoring of this script that will help generate a newsletter, essentially, and save a newsletter using the Mailchimp API. It pulls articles from Reddit that I have stored in a database on AWS. You can find out how I did that in previous videos. And then I'm going to eventually put this up on Lambda, AWS Lambda, which means that I can schedule tasks. So every Wednesday I can have this script run, find these articles that might be interesting for this newsletter that I'm trying to put together, and then email that to or use the Mailchimp API to create a draft newsletter. So I'm just going to log into Mailchimp every Wednesday, and here's all these links that I can use for a newsletter, and then I just have to round it out and add my own takes on things, and then I'm good to go. So let's do that refactoring, prep this to go into Lambda, and we'll get started. Alright, so if you look at my data hierarchy, maybe you might not be able to see it here, but I'm going to separate this out. I have product here, and under product, maybe this isn't great, but I'm going to do newsletter Lambda. Okay, and I'll put in here, I'm going to start refactoring this towards going to Lambda. So what do I need? I need the Lambda handler. This is another Lambda I have, is the main entry point for AWS Lambda. So that's the thing that's going to be called. Okay, so alright, so let's go through and get this prepped. So newsletter Lambda, nothing's in there. I'm going to put in an init file, double under init.py. I'm not sure I actually need that. Okay, and then I'm going to put the main file, I'll call this core Lambda functionality, and this needs a function. It doesn't matter that it's called Lambda handler, but it's just easier to reason about. I'm going to call this core.py. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is add a config where I'm going to put all of my, I'm going to put my API key, I'm going to put the subreddits that I want to crawl. Okay, and then I'm going to go in Sublime, I'm going to go to Layout, 2 columns. So so I have config and I have core, and I have my newsletter script where it's just playing around mostly. Okay, so in config, here are the, okay, let me add what I need and nothing more. I have my data newsletter. I have the images, subreddits that I want to crawl. I have okay, just putting all my config variables here. My API key. List ID. The list ID is the ID of the Mailchimp list that I want to email this to. Alright, so I think I have everything. Some of the other things in here are superfluous. I don't really need them. Alright, so in core, I'm going to grab my imports. Okay, and then I'm not going to summarize these articles. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, the cutoff that I picked for articles that I want to look for that are most recent is in the past 7 days from right now. And the min upvotes that you need to have are 50. Okay. I'm just gonna start moving some of this code over, okay, so let's see. And you find when you start doing this that you can, reduce code, cut some things out. All right, so let me translate over. This is one of my functions. Articles of interest is what I called it. And what does this do? Again, so you pass in a subreddit. So let me type out the doc string. Pass in subreddit and optional minimum upvotes, and it'll return a list. It returns a list of dictionaries, and those are the articles. Okay, so it connects to AWS, connects to my database, and returns a list of articles that might be interesting. All right, so I have all of these things that I added, which are just constants that are helpful to mark down. So I'll just put them here. They're essentially constants. I could put them in a constants file if I wanted to clean this up more, but I'll just put them at the top. Okay, so I'm not going to write to a text file like I did in the previous videos. What I'm going to do is create some JSON and email that out. So I'm going to make a main function and just have lambda handler call that. I think in AWS Lambda, every function is called with this event in context. So I'm just going to put this down below, and I want to test out this script. So I'm going to add the ability to do that. Okay, so what is my main function going to do? Okay, so from config, we need to import API key, list ID, data newsletter. You know what I could do is just import config, and then that'll be in the namespace. And then use it from there. Okay, so import config. So you can say config dot. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure this is how I want to work this. Thinking about how to refactor it. I think okay, well, let's just add it and then we can break apart functionality moving forward. Okay, and now what I want to do is just bring over the pseudocode I have for creating a campaign. Okay, so I don't need this anymore, and I don't want to save changes to that. Okay, so let's dive in. Layout single, so you can see what I'm doing. Maybe I'll zoom in. All right, so I have all this different code, essentially all of my just variables that I'm just going to bring in modules that I don't need. Okay, then I have this function, articles of interest, which grabs the articles and returns a list of dictionaries. Okay, that's all great. So I need a function. So main will iterate over every sub in config.data newsletter, grab the articles, then you need to do something for like article in for art in articles. Oh, no, I already have that. Okay, so this actually goes here, and this actually moves over here. No, this can stay out here, sorry. Okay, so what I need to do is figure out, instead of text file write, which is not what I'm going to do, I'm going to just turn this into a big blob of JSON and then combine all of those together. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do is just... Okay, so I am just going to play around in an IPython terminal and figure out how to do this. So if I have string 1, which is hi, how are you? And I have string 2, which is just fine, thanks. How do I turn that into JSON? JSON.parse. String 1, is that it? No. I guess I'll do that. Okay, list equals string 1, string 2. Fine. Okay, I guess that's what I'll do. Just playing around, and that's helpful to me just to do that occasionally. So what do I need? Instead of textfile.write, I'm going to use update. So I'm going to have something like, okay, so I'm going to make a list. It's going to be formatted articles, I suppose. And instead of textfile.write, I'm going to do formatted articles.append. Okay, so that should probably work. And what this function can do is just, okay, so how about this? I have a new function that's like grab articles. Okay, and this will return the list. It'll return formatted articles. Okay, so that'll return the articles. Okay, so you have like articles equals grab articles, and then we're gonna send, then we're gonna concatenate join. Okay, so let's see. JSON is gonna be, well, let's just make this string. It's gonna be, naming things is really hard. Join art for art in articles. Okay, so that's our giant string. And then we're going to email that to ourselves. Okay, so this is where we use the Mailchimp API. So I have to connect to it. Client. I have to connect to that. I have to create a client. Okay, and then just a little bit. Okay, so what am I doing? I'm grabbing all the articles, I'm making a giant string. I gotta connect via the client to Mailchimp. I need to import Mailchimp here. Forgot how I was doing that. Mailchimp. I'll look at that in just a second. Okay, so let's construct the data again that Mailchimp needs. Data equals data. So Mailchimp needs recipients, which is going to be config dot list ID. I think I called it. Mailchimp needs the subject line, which I'm just going to say newsletter, whatever. Or do I have a subject line? I don't know. Reply to. That's weird. I forget what the reply to was. Oh, I see. I think the reply to is my email address. From name. Okay, let's just say what. Okay, type plain text. Okay, so that's the data that we need there. And then new campaign. Oh, I see. So I'm going to create a new campaign. So first I'm going to have to connect to Mailchimp, then I create a new campaign with this data. And then I'm going to update that campaign with the message. Now the message plain text, entering content here. So let's see, test message. And I think the plain text is going to be the string that I just constructed. So let's see how this all works out. All right. So I just need to figure out how to connect again to this client thing. So it's just going to be from Mailchimp 3, import Mailchimp. Okay, great. So make a Mailchimp API key that's in my config. And then my user is my username. Should be my email address. All right, so let's see how this works. So if I run this, if I go Python product lambda, no, newsletter lambda, whoops. Core. Okay. Unindent. So now this is the debugging area for sub and config.data newsletter. I have a combination of tabs and spaces. I always use spaces. Okay, so that should work. Images is not defined, so that's in my config. So you just, you just go down the you just go from error to error and debug. Found 12 articles, 30. This is good. Okay, so I think I did things twice. which I'm not sure why. But anyway, this looks like it worked. Let's go to my campaigns. So, also, if you want to sign up for the newsletter, that would be appreciated. My list is pretty small right now. Okay, so let's see. Replies, plain text email. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so all of that content that I wanted is here. This is my email, but it's in Markdown, which so I need to edit this. Subject line is newsletter. Okay. You included a plain text version. So where do I actually edit this? I want to edit this. Plain text message, preview and test. Okay. So that looks terrible. Okay. So I need this to be not plain text, I guess. Let's go. Maybe that's what it is. Let's go to IPython and figure out what I can send it instead of plain text. So I need to, okay, from Mailchimp, import Mailchimp. I need to read the docs. Content update, plain text. Okay, campaigns.content.update. This is what I want help on. Is this Mailchimp? Dang. Mailchimp isn't. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Param type data. Unique ID, param data, type data. Set the content for a campaign. Okay. Let's go here. API update. Okay, so how about instead of plain text, I just use text? And then why did this formatted articles? For sub and sub. Oh, okay, wait. We need to be outside. Okay. I think this should work. Okay. So let's see. So this one doesn't have any. Guides and tutorials. Actually, all I really need to do is, why is this empty now? Tag info. What is that? How do I? Why is this look terrible? Plain text. I don't want this to be plain text. Campaign tracking. Okay, so let's go through and just create a new campaign just from scratch and see. Email, yeah, email. Okay. Automated, oh, I see. Content. Select a template. So I can pass markdown to this. All right, so what is this? What kind of email is this? It's a template. It's a template. Templates, default content. All right, so test message text. Oh, type. Okay. The type. I selected a plain text as the type. I don't want to select plain text as a type. I want to select. Okay. What do I want to select? What types are there? Regular. Okay, so let's try that. Try regular. Okay. Just testing it out. All right, so let's see. content. Oh, interesting. So where is my... Wait a second. From... I didn't have the content. So I need to select a template. Can I just pass text to this? Okay, so I wasn't able to... I guess I need to grab a template, and then after grabbing the template, send data to that. So this is going to hold me up for a little bit. Hopefully, guys, this has been useful. This what happens when software development, you come to a problem and then you get stuck and you have to tackle that. So there's something about this that I still need to figure out. I think what I need to do is get a template for my campaign and then update that template. So I think I'm really close. Hopefully we can finish this out in the next video. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.